Okay, folks. I think the first knowledge session regarding how to check service ping on Snowflake and to expose new app created by data team. Are you able to see my screen or not? I don't know what's happened.
Not yet.
Probably now, right?
Yeah, all good now.
Yep. So let's start for the beginning to say something about the context why we create this application. Usually, from this address, we got the set of SQL queries in Postgres syntax, and we use actually the same queries after transformation to Snowflake syntax to execute them on result or tables in Postgres pipeline. Actually, it's a copy from production database. So you have we got plenty of select statements here. And this is good because we transform this, rename the tables to be adjusted to Snowflake syntax, execute them, calculate the metrics, store it somewhere, and then down the road, analytics engineers can use this as a source of truth for automated service ping metrics. But of course, this is in a perfect world. Things are changing a bit very quickly, I would say, from time to time. So it's very easy to overlook if you alter new metrics or change the code for the existing one. And then we have boom, when we want to calculate something and query is not correct for any reason. Usually it's like, okay, some table is not there yet in Postgres pipeline. So usually we reactively fix the things, introduce new table or objects or new column or whatever, and then rerun the pipeline and everything is fine. We want to shift a bit to be more proactive and to deliver something to you so you can easily do the test in confident way and then confirm if everything is fine. You can move on without ask us or mark, label any issue. So it will be, I would say, efficient way of communication. In that case, you will be easily recognize something is wrong or not with objects in Snowflake. You will play with Postgres syntax, and let me show you how things are going. Also, before we move forward, this is the, let's say, general mockup how we try to organize our application. If you introduce new metrics on the PI team or your side, and you have Postgres query for that metrics, you should call RESTful API with that query, and our application will do the rest. Under the hood, we'll transform, as I said, Postgres to Snowflake notation with some renaming and few additional columns we need to calculate the metrics, execute that query, and show you the not result, but just is it correct or not, because we want to hide the result for sake of security and everything. And then if that response code for RESTful API is 200, it means everything is fine, you can process. Otherwise, you should just send us the result of that RESTful API call, and we can do in advance upfront everything you need to organize. Then you later on you can check it again, and if it's fine, you can proceed and deploy your code. Only limitation, which is annoying for me and probably will be for you, is about credentials and how to get and hook up on the Snowflake database. In this iteration, it will be open web page for you. You should log in with your credentials. If not, we can create one generic for you or something like that. But later on, our plan is to put or deploy this somewhere in our cluster. So you'll just have address. For now, you should install it and run it, but it's very, very simple. Any question as of now from your side, boys, folks?
This was very exciting, and I think for now it's all clear.
Yeah, great. I mean, this is a version 0.1, so in the future probably it will be much better. And I expect a lot of suggestions from your side. Feel free to bring any idea, and we can iterate on this, and for sure we will do that. Start from the beginning. I'm in one, let's say, demo folder. We have this. Let me purge it, and then what I plan to do is to go from the starting point I also already mentioned in the agenda. So actually, I will clone what I have in my small repo. It will be done very quickly, and because project is small, in case you don't have anything you need to run this application, it's Poetry and Python libraries. You will just run make command, Python Poetry install, and magic will happen here, and everything will be installed for you in advance. The next thing, what we need to do is just to put secrets. So I will go in the folder, create an environment file. Also, it can be done with environment variables, but for this reason, I just put or choose to go with this approach. Fairly easy for me. What is important here? I will use external browser. It's a limitation. It's an annoying thing because you need to close the window every time. This is my username because I want to hook up here for purpose of this demo with my account. Password is empty because I will use SSO login in Snowflake. My role, account will be GitLab also for you. And I use very small data warehouse. This access token is not needed, I would say at the moment, but I put it for some future purposes once when we put everything on cluster and have proper security, bearer token and everything. But for now, it's just dummy value. Just make our life a little bit harder. I don't know why I didn't remove it, but not a problem. I save everything I need in .environment file, and then I need to do make run command. I mean, I'm starting from the scratch, so for the first time, it will take some time. Under the hood, interesting to say, we are using Python poetry library, which is great, so you can easily isolate the environment despite what you have on your machine. It will not screw up the rest of your projects, your environments, everything else. And also we use fast API framework to create a RESTful API. This tool is very, I would say, impressive for us because you get the Swagger documentation automatically out directly from the code. Same goes as for DBT. When you type a code in DBT, implicitly you get the documentation ready, so no duplication or that boring work part with the documentation. When I run make run, I installed everything, update the libraries I need, pick up the proper Python version, 3.10 in this case, and then run the application server called UVcore. And on localhost 8000, you will find what you need. So if you open the browser, you'll see a typical documentation for RESTful API calls. As I said, this is automatically generated for us, which is great. And I have some dummy try it out option like hello world, which is okay. See, this is the body and this is the code. And what is the most interesting for you is this part. And you need that boring bearer token here just to make everything properly. I want to try it from web page and I want to execute. This is the boring part because I'm using SSO login to Snowflake. I need to confirm that's really me. I understand what's going on and I can close the window. As a result of that, I will get 200 code and you have this response. Input for me is matrix name, can be anything literally, but for your sake, you put your real matrix name so we can easily communicate. And Postgres query in this case is select one. I will use more, let's say, colorful example, something real, and go to the command line, be able to use serial. You can use serial, you can use Python, you can use Ruby on Rails, you can use whatever you want. If I'm here and do serial, and then again, log in and close it, I can see results. What is important? To have this bearer token, to insert matrix name, and to insert Postgres query. As a result of that, I will go this very, very simple JSON. And I want to show you. This is my well-formatted good example. This is input, what you put there, this is output. Status is okay. This is Snowflake query, how we transform this into something digestible for us and for our data warehouse. Error message is null, which means everything is fine. And this is timestamp, pretty much easy. If I go here and call it again, but instead of Postgres query select count something, I will put fake table name, which not exist, something, and execute it. Then annoying part. And I will go to result. The main difference here is, sorry. You have status failed. you have the Snowflake theory. So it means something is wrong. We miss some object, table does not exist, whatever. So actually, in case something is wrong and it's not 200, you will send this to us. We can, let's say, read this, introduce new objects. Later on, you can retest it. If it's fine and you got OK status here, 200, it means we are ready to go. Nothing special, very simple. As I said, there is an annoying part with this, closing the tab in your favorite browser by your choice, but everything else is kind of fairly easy. We are thinking in the future, as I said, to put this on cluster. You will get URL and you can fully automate the testing process. So for now, it will be kind of semi-automated somehow, but for me, the most important thing is to get the idea how you can help us, how we can help you, and how we can easily communicate. As of now, we have this data warehouse impact check label, but it's fairly easy to be trapped or be lost, because if there are many of them, I'm on triage Duda, let's say, and I need to check 20 of them, it's very, very difficult for me or for other colleagues to check if new metrics is introduced and do we miss something or not. So it's kind of fully manual process, subject to failed or, I don't know, make some errors. And this is the way how we can communicate fairly easy regarding automated service ping pipeline or piece of the code. So actually, this is very, very long, very short story about what actually we built. Anything we can help you to install this, to start using this, I'm more than happy to contribute and to support you. But as of now, this is a brief introduction. Installation is fairly easy. Check out the code, make run. You will get your local application server embedded built in. Go to the page, you have a full documentation, and also you have our README. I think it's more than enough to get the point. As I said, for you, most important thing is, or only two things you should add is matrix name, not very important, and Postgres query, which is crucial for us. So we can translate it, we can execute on Snowflake, and you will get the result. As I said, for sake of hide the data and stay compliant, we will not expose the results. We'll say just okay, not okay, like a binary, and that's it. Thoughts from your side?
First of all, this is awesome tool and very exciting, and thank you very much for this contribution. I think it's gonna be very, very useful. And I believe this is great first iteration. Like it does the job.
Yes.
I already can see, and it can't wait for us to somehow automate it, because it will be the most efficient, and it would allow us to like self-serve all the GitLab without proxying too much. So we can just automate and react only in case of errors, not in case of anything else. But this is a great starting point.
Yeah.
I have one follow-up question, because I noticed that you are configuring and using your Snowflake account and Snowflake access in the .env file. And I just want to confirm that anyone who wishes to use this application, even on local, needs to have their own access granted to the Snowflake, because I'm not sure if that's the case for all developers in the product intelligence group. If not, then we probably could open the access requests to get such access to the rest of the team. But first of all, we need to know if it's required.
Yeah, actually, I put pre-requirements here. I know you will ask me, because for me it's fairly easy. It's my, I don't know, bread and butter job. I don't even think about it, but yeah, it's very important to know. You should use Snowflake SSO account or username password. No one will give you the grant for username password because of the compliance, and in future we'll have more strict policy for this. So probably you should have your personal SSO account, or we can consider, if you create access request issue, we can consider one read-only access with very humble grants for this purpose and for your team. If you don't, all of you have that, your personal account. In that case, it will be like PI team something at gitlab.com. But if you have your own personal account can connect through Okta to Snowflake, it's more than sufficient. Then query will be executed as your user. Here, for this purpose of demo, I use my own account. I expose that part. But if you don't have it, you should create that, let's say, access issue, or we can think, okay, maybe on the team level, we can have one with read-only privileges, and we are fine with that because of security, compliance, and everything else. I spoke with Dennis about this. It's a kind of complex, because initially I used, let's say, this combination, and I want to put everything in Docker, but this is forbidden for me now. But if you want to put SSO account to be executed in Docker, it's almost impossible. So I choose to switch the technology to use Poetry, which is kind of okay. But as I said, let's start from something and try to deploy this on Kubernetes cluster. Then we will have this username password access. In that iteration, you can stop thinking about your own account because we will do everything for you, like fully managed service, one-stop shop. And also the second thing, you should have at least read access to our repo. It's called GitLab data, well known, of course, / this project. So you can check it out. And that is what you need. And also this kind of knowledge transfer session or more introduction to actually what we offer, what we provide as a first version of our nice application, especially for us is good because it's a fully new technology under the hood, like fast API, things like that. Once when you want to install this and start using this, as I said, I will be more than happy to support you so we can do it together, install everything and also share some knowledge, find some bugs if there are any, or I don't know, make this more smoother. But yeah, long story short, bottom line, prerequisites, you need to have SSO account accessible via Okta, or we should do it on team level. Probably for sake of security and compliance, you should have your own account, probably. But I need to check that. We'll put that as a action point for me and inform you about that. More questions, maybe?
I think that's all from my side. As the action point for the product integers team, we can consider adding this step to the our review process, product integers review process, to check new metrics. Right now, you are passing the data warehouse impacted, not impacted labels. So maybe right now we can alter the process so we actually run this check and only apply the data warehouse impacted or data warehouse impact check if we got the error response. If we got okay, then we don't bother you with checking the impact twice. So I think that could be a nice action point for us.
Definitely, yes. Especially
to change
here,
the process.
Especially here, if everything is fine, don't put a label. It means, yeah, we are confident because this is our responsibility to make this up to date in case something is right. Okay, we are behind that. And as you said, if something is wrong, just paste this JSON and say impacted, and then we can easily check, okay, why? This is why the problem occurred. So we can introduce what is needed. In some extreme cases, we can easily communicate with you, but we know and we have cornerstone to discuss. I'm here for any suggestion, any help, any support, Mikolai. Once we introduce the process or put or change the process of reviewing, ping me. I'm more than happy to help you. I will also touch this recording session in agenda, so you can easily find it whenever you want.
Radovan or Mikovaj, just a question about how it currently works in terms of how we flag the metrics that aren't data warehouse compliant. So that's the label we use and that gets picked up by the data team, or what happens when we do get an error?
For now, the process is you put that label, we check visually, is it okay or not, or there's any problem, we just assume, or as per our experience. So you can imagine there is a new start, it will be very hard or very difficult to see what's going on if something is changed. But with this change, what I understand from Mikolai, I think it sounds as a good idea. With this iteration, you should use our application, check new metrics code, and if everything is okay, you don't even to put a label there because you know you're confident everything is right. If something is wrong, I think probably you can introduce your piece of process, but this JSON file as request will be more than sufficient for us, and put a label like, okay, impacted, and we can see, yeah, it's impacted because of that, because we know this application produce that result, and also we are able
both looking at the same error.
Because it's very easy to reproduce. Why? Because also you send us a metric name, you send us Postgres query, and also we have already ready to execute Snowflake query, so we can easily execute it once when everything is there. Like, okay, introduce new column, new table. We can rerun it and say it's fine, and for you just rerun the code, and 100% it will be fine. As I said, also people from our team like this approach using RESTful API to communicate with other teams and some other, let's say, hidden, isolated environments. And also we have one more use case to introduce, and probably it will be a good motivation for us to deploy everything on Postgres on our cluster, which is also great. As I said, one-stop shop for you, just URL address, access, and that's it. Better token you can easier use. But for this iteration, yeah, you should do that, closing the web page.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. something in chat.
Nikolaj is just sending me a lot of context just on how this works currently.
Yeah.
I don't have the access to the agenda, edit access, so I cannot paste them in. So just use the Zoom chat.
Okay. I will share it with you because I know I put the GitLab. Anyone in the group with the link and you have
I
access.
think it's read only currently.
Oh, really? A viewer. I will change it immediately to editor. And done. Try it now. And thank you, Nikolaj, for this context here.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we are on the right page now. Okay, I will stop sharing.